Lori Desjardins. Welcome to Healing with Lori, where we transform codependent mother-daughter relationships and build a life that's true to you. Have you ever wondered if you're codependent or if you really just like helping people? What's the difference? In today's Q&A video, we're going to break it down. Our question is from Hezebo, and she writes, I come from an Asian culture where your value comes from what you offer others. I struggle to understand how anyone is valuable if they are simply alone. I can't understand how anyone can exist without others. What is the difference between codependency and living a life in service of others? Hezebo, this is a great question, and a lot of women wonder the same thing. Let's talk about your first point, that in your culture, a person's value comes from what they can offer others. Now, this is true to a degree. What you're talking about here is called instrumental value, or how useful someone or something is. For example, Natasha's attention to detail was instrumental in planning her wedding. See, her attention to detail was what was an asset in that situation. You see, your skills and your strengths are valuable because they're useful. Without them, things either wouldn't get done or they just wouldn't be the same. Whether you're thoughtful or patient, great at problem solving, or a great listener, what you bring to the table really matters. And when it comes to your personal relationships, like the one you have with your mom, the things that you offer can help bring you closer together. When giving is done in a healthy way, which we're diving into in today's episode, life itself and our relationships feel more fulfilling. An issue that's really common in codependency is people feel like they're only valuable when they're giving. So when they take breaks and they rest, they have a sense of guilt, like they should be doing something else with that time. Yet rest and replenishment is what makes giving enjoyable and possible. When you stop to take care of yourself, you don't lose your value. You honor and acknowledge your value. If you believe you're only valuable when you give, you might struggle to receive. Naturally, you have needs and desires, but on some level, you might feel bad for having them. Let me share something with you. One of my great joys in life is music. I have performed hundreds of times in public. Without a receiver or a listener, my singing in public is just me by myself. I need the giver and the receiver in this situation. Without one or the other, there's not much to talk about. So you need to be both, and it feels good to be both. Now to your second point, Hezebo. I struggle to understand how anyone is valuable if they're simply alone. Well, this is common. Many people spend their lives in the pursuit of meaning and purpose by accomplishing and giving to others. It's like they're trying to prove they are worth existing. They help lots of people. They raise children. They have meaningful careers. They make lots of money and buy their mom a house and give the rest to charity. But they still come up empty inside. Why? What's going on? They're overly focused on their instrumental value, or what they do for others, the external, rather than their inherent value. Your inherent value is your worth for simply existing. It's about who you are, not what you do. Now, this concept might be a bit of a mind trip if you've grown up believing that you're only valuable if you do for others, but it's essential to living a life that actually feels stable, because you will otherwise keep giving and giving to your loved ones, and it will never feel like enough, and you will never feel like enough. It's time for Lori's Stories. When I was in university, I majored in environmental studies, and one of my required courses was environmental ethics. My professor taught us about inherent worth. This is where I first learned about this concept. He used the example of a tree being valuable to a logger, once that tree is big and strong enough to be cut down and used for wood. But that tree on its own has an inherent value simply because it exists. With the ethical argument that it's valuable in and of itself, it's deserving of protection and life. Let's push this a little bit farther. That same tree is also useful because it exists. It gives us oxygen, the number one thing we need to live. It's the home for birds raising their babies and so much more. You are like this tree. Your very existence gives life to so many things without you even trying or doing anything intentionally. Every time you exhale, you give back carbon dioxide to the same plants. And your body is literally the home to trillions of cells. Without even trying, your existence is valuable to trillions of other life forms. You're part of a natural system that needs you as much as you need it. Where you may get stuck is when you feel like you're that tree and you have a logger in your life. You may be willing to sacrifice yourself and the people around you that depend on you just to be pleasing to that one person. They treat you more like a product to be used than something that just gets to exist and enjoy life. Now, when this logger is your mom or another family member, that's an incredibly painful experience. But you don't have to stay stuck being on the receiving end of this treatment. It's not a passive experience. Which brings me to your third point, Hezebo. I can't understand how anyone can exist without others. Me neither. Whether it's a person, an animal, a plant, or a tiny cell, nothing exists on its own. When it comes to your relationships with other people, particularly the one with your mom, it's so important to understand that your value comes from what you do and from who you are, just by existing. They are both valid. If you focus too much on what you can do for others, you'll get depleted. And if you focus too much on simply being, you'll feel like something's missing. But where is the line? It's in your fourth point and your question. What is the difference between codependency and living a life in service of others? Well, what does it mean to live a life in service of others? Well, it's a mindset of how can I make the world a better place and how can I actually help people? It's not a one-time event, it's a daily lifestyle. But what does it mean to you to live a life in service of others? Because that is the really relevant thing here. Take some time to reflect on what it means to you. We also need to be clear on what codependency is. Codependency is a relationship pattern where one person consistently prioritizes what they believe the other person wants and needs ahead of what they themselves want and need. Codependency is a symptom, not a problem in and of itself. Codependency is the result of your core beliefs and fears and of a dysregulated nervous system that almost constantly feels unsafe and is trying to seek stability by giving to others in relationships. So, when are you being codependent and when are you being of service? At this point in time, I think that there are two main questions to ask yourself to be able to tell the difference. Now, this can apply to pretty much any relationship, including if you're giving to organizations or groups of people, but I'm going to be talking about it in the context of the mother-daughter relationship. Before I get to that, here is Lori's coaching tip. In this section, I'm going to be talking about some uncomfortable truths, and depending on where you are in your healing journey, it might get overwhelming. So right now, I want you to pick something that you're going to do after you're done watching this video. Something that's just for you, something that's just for fun. Now, you need to do uncomfortable things to make changes in your life, but you also need to balance that out with comfortable things so that you have some stability in the process. You might want to go for a walk, take a bath, or watch a program that's just for the fun of it. Pick something now and make sure that you do it for yourself when the video's done. So, what are the two main questions that will help you tell the difference between codependent giving and giving as an act of service? Question number 1. Why are you really doing it? Why are you giving your time, energy, money, and advice? This is your reason underneath your surface reason of, well, it's because I want to, or I want to be helpful, or it's because I care about this person. Well, of course you do. But if you can be really honest with yourself, there are reasons underneath it. These reasons are codependent that I'm about to share with you. If you hear any of them and you experience a pang in your gut or in your heart, or you have a rapid fire defensiveness against something that I say, pay close attention to that one because it might be hitting a soft spot that you want to explore. There's no judgment here on my end. I did all of these things. I was motivated by all of these things in my relationship with my mom. And to this day, there are different relationships in my life that I still have to check myself through some of these things for. So if you feel these, no shame, we're here to heal. Honest, codependent motivation number 1, you want your mom or others to see you as a good person or a good daughter. You think that if you're good, people won't judge you. They won't talk badly behind your back. They won't cut you out of their lives or take away something you've come to depend on them for, like housing, money, help with your kids, or just connection. Motivation number 2. You think that if you just do enough or prove how valuable you are to your mom, she will finally give you the love and validation you've always craved. You think you can earn this level of love with her. You'll finally get the dream mother-daughter relationship you've wanted for so long. Instead of directly having the conversation with your mom where you tell her what's really important to you and what you need in the relationship, you think that if you just are pleasing enough, she will do those things for you. For example, you may wish that she was more supportive or less critical, or that she really welcomed your partner into the family. Reason number 3. You think that if you're needed, you won't be abandoned. Your mom isn't going to prioritize another person over you, and you won't be discarded. Even though a part of you really wants to help your mom, another part of you also wants to keep being needed because that's where you think your relationship security is going to come from. Reason number 4. You're scared that if you do something that displeases your mom, there will be a consequence you don't want to face. Maybe her feelings will be hurt, or she'll throw a tantrum, or she'll pull away from you. Maybe she'll even get other people on her side to try to put pressure on you. Codependent motivation number 5. You're resisting your own growth and seeking comfort in control. You do this by either focusing on your mom's problems instead of your own, or avoiding having the uncomfortable conversations where you're honest about your needs, or having the conversation where you tell her no. You may also be refusing to accept that pain is a part of life, and witnessing someone that you love in pain is just really uncomfortable, and it's not always something you can avoid or control. Number 6, you feel truly responsible for your mom's outcomes and decisions, like they're your own. You try to save her from the consequences of her choices, but you can't. Unless your mom has a degenerative condition and you're power of attorney, this is not up to you. She chooses, not you. Reason number 7, you really believe you can help your mom. You think if you just give her enough love or acceptance or support, she is going to finally be well enough to live the life you envision for her. Reason number 8, you believe you are the only one who can help your mom. You think that it's all on you. Even if you're not experienced or equipped, you think you should be the one to help. You over-empathize with her. You ignore signals that she is capable, and you don't think anyone else can or will help. And finally, reason number 9, you think you're right. You think that your mom wants things that she doesn't actually want. Even if she says she does, her behavior says otherwise. You keep pushing your ideas onto her, even if she does not want them or she does not do them. Terry Cole, author of Too Much, A Guide to Breaking the Cycle of High-Functioning Codependency, says the less often talked about part of codependency is how it's a desire to control other people's outcomes. When you're being of service, you're not in it to control the other person's outcomes. You see them as a person who has the capacity to choose themselves. It's their right. You're also giving to a willing participant. You're either helping them help themselves, or there's something that they want to do and they really just can't do it alone right now. When you're really being of service, you're not being led by your ego or your inner child. You don't have this underlying motivation to get validation from the other person. You're not hiding or running. A common thread in the codependent motivations is the search for some kind of safety and security. What we're really looking at here is the difference between healthy giving through living a life of service and unhealthy giving in codependency. Wanting to be helpful from a secure place or from an insecure place. Now, your true motivations are nuanced and take a humbling degree of self-honesty to really get to. How else can you tell if you're being codependent or of service? Question number 2, how do you feel? I know you might not want to be doing any more feeling. It can be uncomfortable, but as I like to say, feeling is revealing. It will show you things that are really important that you might not want to look at, but they are what's actually happening underneath the surface. Here are some signs through your feelings that what you're doing is actually codependent. Number 1, after you help, you feel high after. You're relieved the pressure is off you. You feel good about yourself, but then you crash hard. You're still in the cycle of overgiving, overdoing, and under-receiving. Once the high wears off, the voices that were in the background all along can finally be heard. You know, the ones that say, you suck, or you're not doing enough. And the truth is, you can't just do more and give more to get rid of those voices. Number 2, you feel exhausted or even sick because you're doing more than what you can actually recuperate from. You're trying to be superhuman and it's catching up with you. Number 3, you feel like things are fine when they aren't. You're like that character in a movie that the whole audience is shouting, "Don't do it, don't go in there," but you do. You spend money you can't afford to spend. You give time you can't afford to give, and you and the other people in your life are paying the price for it. Number 4, you feel chronically stressed and overloaded, like there's a quiet hum always in the background. You try to excuse it away or ignore it, but it's there. You're either anxiously avoiding saying no to your mom, or you're concerned about your next interaction with her, or you're obsessively brainstorming ways that you can fix her or save her. You don't deeply feel relaxed or at peace, ever. You say yes automatically to every request your mom has, like a compulsive knee-jerk response. You don't take time to think about it. Your nervous system is chronically overstressed, and you don't feel secure in your relationships, especially not this one. So you jump at any chance to experience some temporary relief. Number 5, you often feel sad, foggy-headed, or depressed because your needs are chronically not being met in this relationship, or your mom isn't becoming the person you really want her to be. This doesn't change no matter how much you give. Your mom is either unable or unwilling to meet your needs, or she has no idea what they are because you haven't told her. Number 6, you feel out of touch with yourself, disconnected, like you don't really know who you are. You can't trust yourself because you keep cutting off important parts of yourself to try to fit into this relationship. You're like a circle trying to turn into a square. Number 7, you feel intense and almost constant guilt for your mom's struggles. It permeates your entire life. You feel guilty for being happy when she's not happy. You feel guilty for wanting to say no, or for, oh my gosh, if you ever do say no. You feel guilty that you can't actually solve her problems. Number 8, you feel obligated, not motivated. You may secretly be hoping that she doesn't ask you, or wishing that she didn't ask you to do something. Number 9, lastly, you feel resentful. You're angry, you're bitter, because you're not getting the results you want, no matter what you pour into it. You've been giving for too long and not getting your own needs met. Here's another quote from Terry Cole. The easiest way to determine if you are giving from a healthy or unhealthy place is to assess how resentful or put out you feel about what you do for others. When you're truly being of service, you feel it. Deep down, there's some sense of satisfaction because you know you're making a difference. Even if you're tired after your help, even if you don't always want to show up, even if you don't always get the results you might want, it still feels satisfying, at least on some level. Overall, being of service feels good. The opposite is also true. If you're not actually being of service and you're doing these things for codependent reasons, it does not feel satisfying. Even if your mom tells you that what you're doing is helping, part of you feels like it might not be. Part of you might wonder if you're actually helping or you're enabling her to keep leaning on you. This is the subject of an entirely different scale and another video. Are you helping or are you hurting? If you think you're living a life in service of others, good for you. However, the help that this channel delivers is not applicable to your situation. But if you resonated with one or all of the codependency markers in today's videos, I have some tips for you. Here are some questions to reflect on the next time you're considering doing something for your mom. Write it down, journal about it, or you can type it out. You can even leave yourself a voice note just to get the ideas flowing. So take a screenshot of it, save it for later, and answer them. 1, do I want to? 2, am I the right person to help with this, or would someone else be better equipped? 3, if I'm honest with myself, how do I really feel about this? 4, do I hope I'll be seen as good by doing this? If so, by whom? Why them? 5, am I hoping my mom does something for me in return? If so, what? Am I willing to directly tell her what I'd like instead? Why or why not? Now, if you want to heal from your codependent relationship with your mom, but you're struggling to do it on your own, I understand. Going through the worst part of it for me was very challenging, and support from other people made all the difference. It changed my life. If you'd like to cut the confusion and save yourself years on your healing journey, book a free consultation with me in the link below. It's a 30-minute conversation, and it's really going to help. Something that I wish I had when I was going through my healing process was a step-by-step guide to give me some more breathing room and more freedom in my life. So I created just that for you. It's called the Guilt-Free Boundary Guide, and you can get your free copy in the link below. And as a bonus, you'll automatically be signed up for my email newsletter when you put your email in. You'll get exclusive offers sent right to your inbox, and info that I only talk about through email. Special shout out to Viridian and Spice for your comment. Please keep making these videos. I absolutely will. Thanks for being here. And a very special thank you to Hazebo for your question. I hope it helped. If you would like me to answer one of your questions, please leave it in the comments below. Congratulations! You've made it through all the uncomfortable stuff that we talked about in this video. Now remember, it's time for you to follow through on that promise to yourself and do something that you really, really want. I'm Lori Desjardins. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time on Healing with Lori.